Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Craig Berelle, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Colonel Brandon Wood. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. Today, we welcome the Danilenko family, who will be laying wreaths in honour of Lieutenant Anatoly Danilenko, whose story will be read shortly. Also here to honour the service of Lieutenant Danilenko are the members of the 1963 graduating class of the Royal Military College Duntroon. We thank you for your service. We also acknowledge the members of the RSL and service clubs who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony around Australia. This evening we are joined by students who will be laying wreaths on behalf of Tannum State High School in Queensland. Please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozieres, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families, friends and Australians could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and other operations over more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Captain Anatoly Danilenko. Tony Danilenko was born in Germany on the 10th of October 1943 to Russian parents who had been displaced during the early years of the Second World War. In 1952, the family immigrated to Australia and settled in Parkes, New South Wales. Tony enlisted into the Australian Army in 1960, attending the Royal Military College Duntroon. He graduated as a member of the class of 1963 with the rank of lieutenant and was posted to the infantry. Tony was known as an unflappable character with an easygoing nature that endeared him to his friends, fellow officers and serving men. In 1965, Tony Danilenko was posted to Western Australia, where he joined 2 Squadron of the Special Air Service. He also joined the Netherlands Rugby Union Football Club and quickly became one of the club's best-known players. In 1966, 2 Squadron deployed to Borneo during the closing stages of the Indonesian confrontation. The squadron undertook a number of different tasks which would greatly assist them for future deployments to Vietnam. Tony Danilenko returned with his squadron to Australia in July 1966. Preparations for service in Vietnam were undertaken. In November 1967, Tony Danilenko was posted to Vietnam and attached to Headquarters Armed Forces Vietnam as the SAS liaison officer. In February 1968, Tony was posted to the Australian Army Training Team Vietnam and was promoted to temporary captain. Upon joining the AATTV, Tony was attached as a company commander to United States Special Forces Mobile Strike Force, based at Paikou. Tony Danilenko and the US Special Forces soldiers were involved in training Montagnard troops and leading them on combat operations. In April, Tony's company and a second company were sent north of Dak Pak in Kon Tum province to patrol and observe North Vietnamese army forces in the area. The terrain was extremely hilly and the jungle conditions demanding on the troops. At around lunchtime on the 25th of April, Tony Danilenko's company was ambushed by an NVA force. The nature of the terrain, the intense enemy fire, meant that no effective fire could be returned or counterattacks could be undertaken. Tony Danilenko attempted to lead an attack to extricate his company from the ambush. During the attack, he became isolated, and as he prepared to move to another position, he was shot and killed. Tony Danilenko was posthumously mentioned in dispatches for his leadership and personal courage in trying to lead his men out of the ambush. His body was recovered by his American colleagues the following day and returned to Australia. He was laid to rest in his hometown of Parkes, New South Wales. Tony Danilenko's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, along with more than 500 others from the Vietnam War, and his photograph is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of many stories of courage and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Captain Tony Danilenko and all those who have given their lives in service of our nation.
They shall not grow old, as thus those that remain grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning we will remember them. lest we forget.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pottier or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. Thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and good evening.